Hi, I'm Frolic in the Forest. Welcome to my channel where I talk about my Sylvanian Families and Calico Critters collection as well as DIY projects and crafts. For this project, I will be working with this little monkey family. I got them as part of another lot, and I don't really collect the exotic families in my own collection, so this will be the perfect one to have a little fun with. And my inspiration is this. Sorry for the jump scare. This is a type of baboon called a mandrill. You're probably more familiar with this version of it from The Lion King. And so that coloration is going to be my inspiration for our custom family of monkeys. And so I'm thinking about how I want to place the markings on the face since their faces are so much rounder than the actual animal. So that's going to be my first challenge. And then it's just going to be a matter of getting it in the right place and creating my new little family. Here's our first little monkey, and anytime I do a specific marking on a custom figure, I draw it in with pencil first, so I have some boundaries so I know where to paint and where to stop and start different colors. And I also decided to give him a little red bum when I just put a heart on their bottom. I just thought that was really hilarious, and it won't really get seen except by the person who owns it. So here we go. I'm mixing a little bit of red and orange fabric paint to start. I want to start with one color, let it dry, and then do the other color since they are right next to each other on the face. If they're both wet, you run across the problem of possibly the colors mixing or bleeding into each other or smearing, and you don't want that. So if you are just doing one color, it's so much easier, but if you're doing a color next to another, just make sure you take your time and let the colors dry in between painting them. So the big red marking across the nose is where I'm starting. And I did extend it down to the chin because it just looked a little bit odd otherwise, and I'm really happy with that choice. One tip I would give as you're painting is to make sure that your edges are saturated. It's really easy to paint along an edge of something that's flocked like this and think that the paint is, at a crisp line, and it's not. So make sure that there's plenty of paint along the edges because that flocking can sometimes separate when it's drying, and it will give you a really fuzzy or inconsistent edge, if that makes sense. So just make sure that you're kind of aware of that. Like right now I'm going back and I'm saturating the edge right here because I just felt like I didn't quite get enough paint on there. Don't overdo it, but just be aware of that. That color is finished, so now I've just gotta let it dry and I'll start the next color. For this section, I mixed a lot of white and just a little bit of blue for that light blue color on the sides of the face. And now I'm just carefully getting that color exactly where I want it, and then that will have to dry as well. When you're painting around the eyes, of course, you want to try and avoid getting your paint on the plastic eyeball, but if you do get a little paint on there, don't panic. When it's dry, you can gently scrape the paint off with the end of a X-Acto knife blade or a box cutter blade, razor blade, and it just comes right off. Here I am checking the saturation of those edges, and remember that anytime you have to do a symmetrical or mirrored pattern, you need to allow yourself some time to fiddle. I'm just constantly checking the matching points and making sure it's as symmetrical as possible. And also remember that sometimes the paint lays a little bit strangely on the flocking, so sometimes it'll look a little bit weird before it dries, or it'll look a little bit, well, sometimes it looks a little weird after it dries too. Flocking is just a very strange surface to paint on. So if you've never done it before, just allow yourself some grace and do the best you can. Like that little spot right there is bugging me, and it's just the way the flocking is sort of laying or not laying with the paint. But I'm really happy with the way he's turning out. He's really cute. And I'm also thinking about giving him a little facial hair somehow. I'm going to play around with some of this felt, which almost perfectly matches his fur, and see, how much or how little or not at all I want to add to our little mandrill family. I went ahead and painted the other two figures off camera, and so here's the family all together. And I just ended up doing a little bit of the felt along the chin. I did play with ideas of going around the head or even giving them a little mohawk, but just thought it was a little too much. So the chin hair is where I landed. However, if you want to try this at home, feel free to add a lot more. So in our family have kid, mom, and dad. I think they're super cute. And they wouldn't be baboons without their little red bums. It was just kind of a funny little aside that won't obviously even be visible when they're wearing clothes. So now all that's left is to get them back into their clothes and give them a proper photo shoot. And here they are, our little mandrill baboon family visiting my forest village. And I just think they're very cute and unique. And I hope that someone will really enjoy having them in their collection someday. Otherwise, they can just visit my families here in the forest for now. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this will inspire you to try your own custom family. And I will see you next time.